on February 22nd, the Supreme Judicial Court ruled that the Springfield City Council has the power to establish a 5-member Board of Police Commissioners to be responsible for the hiring, firing, discipline, and promotions within the Springfield Police Department. Judge Kafka reiterated in his opinion what the Springfield City Council has known since 2018, and that is that the mayor does not have the power to determine the structure or number of heads of departments or boards, but rather he does have the power to identify the people who will fill these seats. I'm an attorney, and I've read the Supreme Court decision multiple times. It also doesn't take an attorney, however, to understand what is clearly written in Kafka's opinion, which is that the City Council has no say in who is appointed. This does not mean, however, that we cannot demand an open and transparent process from an administration that is supposed to serve the people. These commissioners have a significant responsibility and should demonstrate for all to see that they possess the commitment, ability, and courage to transform a police department that has been marred with controversy for years. Creating such a process will go a long way towards restoring faith and trust in our police department, and even more importantly, the administration that oversees it. On February 28th, after receiving numerous phone calls from residents who are interested in serving on the police commission, I wrote a letter to the mayor, citing much of what I said previously, in hopes that he would take advantage and capitalize on the energy and excitement of the citizens of Springfield. I mean, people were thrilled to finally have a police commission that so many of us had fought so hard for. They were genuinely concerned about the state of our police department and optimistic about the potential of getting involved and affecting systemic change in their city. Similarly, on February 29th, Mass Senior Action Council sent their own letter to Mayor Sarno expressing similar sentiments. And Janae McDonald followed with a petition demanding an open and transparent process that garnered over 75 signatures from Springfield residents in a matter of hours. As the pressure built throughout the day and the call from the community for a transparent process grew louder, that evening, Mayor Sarno hastily made a decision to appoint 5 members to the most important board in the city of Springfield. See, this 5-member Board of Police Commissioners oversees, as I said earlier, the hiring, firing, promotions, and discipline for just under 500 sworn police officers. Probably the largest department in the city next to the school department, and not as much as a resume was asked for. Not a resume, not a cover letter, not a letter of interest. They didn't even have to fill out an application.
And that makes us sick.
No interviews, no interview committee, no search committee, nothing. And no one from the community was given an opportunity to apply. When the light was shining on the city of Springfield, the brightest, Mayor Sarno still insisted on a closed-door process to appoint 5 police commissioners without any community input or even a vetting process. And then he had the nerve to throw a temper tantrum when someone who was interested in winning a library security contract calls out one of the mayor's appointments for a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you rush a process.
Yeah.
Right.
This was not the fault of Councilor Whitfield
Right.
or Councilor Hurst,
That's right.
who merely brought the complaint, which was legitimate,
Right.
to your attention. This was your fault,
Right. As always.
Mayor Sarno,
Yep.
and you must own it. Lying about me is one thing.
Right.
I've gotten used to it. But blatantly lying about Councilor Whitfield, who prides herself on telling the truth
That's how.
as she sees it,
That's right.
and then having the audacity to post that very lie
That's a lie.
on the City of Springfield's webpage
Yep.
Yes.
and Facebook page
Yes.
is deplorable.
Shame on
And I
you.
can assure you,
Shame.
that your attempts to divide the community
Fail.
will backfire.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
also will come back to haunt you.
It sure will.
If not now, then definitely next year.
You better believe it.
Yes.
You better believe it.
I'm sorry, but you cannot have an objective and independent police commission when one of its members receives money from the city.
Yep.
It just can't happen.
Corruption.
You can't have an objective and independent police commission when one of its members, who formerly served on the school committee, voted with the mayor 100% of the time
Yes.
that he served,
Go along, get along.
and has ties to a nonprofit organization
Yep.
that receives millions of
That's
dollars from the city.
That's right.
And finally, you can't
New North
possibly
Citizen Council.
have an objective and independent police commission that is effective when 3 out of its 5 members served on the Community Police Hearing Review Board and said absolutely nothing
About Orlando
through
telling
years of allegations of police discrimination
Yep.
and misconduct.
Yep.
A scathing Department of Justice report
Yep.
that yielded civil rights violations
Yes, that's the
on
truth.
behalf of the narcotics bureau,
Yep.
and watch millions in taxpayer dollars go down the tubes in settlement money. You
That's
can't
right.
convince me that these commissioners are fit to serve. So on this day, I stand in solidarity with the Mass Senior Action Council in calling for the recension of the Board of Police Commissioners and calling for an open process.
Yes.
And even more importantly, in calling for those individuals who have been selected to step down.
Yes.
If,
Yes.
if they truly believe in an effective board, then they will acknowledge
Yes.
that a selection process that is public and
Yes.
open and transparent is imperative to a successful board of police
Yes.
commissioners. Thank you.
Great. Yes.